So if you don't have a simple process to close deals and clients for your agency, you'll never be able to scale it. We figured out a really simple process to get more clients into our agency. We closed over 6 figures in high ticket retainer clients, over $3,000 each. So in this video, we're going to walk through the exact script that we use, the exact systems, and exactly how you can implement this to close more deals effectively. So as you can see here, we have a 4-step process in closing deals. The first step is the intro discovery. It's about 30 to 45 minutes. The next is the pitch, then the objection handling, and closing a deal. Now, let's break down every single step for you so you can understand exactly how this works. Now, for the discovery. So really the discovery is the introduction. Now, before you understand how to go through the discovery, I want you to understand the whole idea of selling in general. So if I go here to Myra, I'm going to show you that every single person has an issue or a problem that they have that they need fixed, right? So let's just say, for example, this is the person here, boom, 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 boom. And this right here is your client. Right, your client right here, right? Don't mind my terrible handwriting, but this is your client, right? So your client has an issue. The issue is that they need something. They have a desired outcome. Let's say your client is a roofer and they're getting no leads. So right now they have no leads. He's sad. He's crying. He's sad. This is him being sad. Right? So you need to make sure to figure out a way to help him solve his problem. So what you need to do is understand that your client has a current situation and a desired outcome, a desired situation. So the client wants to be someone who has more leads, has more calls, right? And someone who can actually, make money in their agency or their business or whatever. So your point and the whole idea of sales is to get somebody from their current situation to their desired situation. That's literally what it is. And the bridge, this little gap here, is your product or service. So your product or service is the gateway to make sure that people get to what they want in their lives. So the only thing you need to focus on is the pain that they have in this situation and the pleasure they will have in the next situation they'll have. That's exactly what you're going to want. So discovery starts off by capturing people's information, because the more information you have on your client, the more likely they'll be able to close. So this is exactly what we do. So first we do something called framing the call. So what that is we want to take authority in the call and let them understand how this is going to go. You explain that to them, right? Because if people don't have a clear path and goal and understanding why they're there in the first place, they'll never become a client of yours. Very simple, right? So we frame the call by doing this. First, we hop on and we say, hey, blah, 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 whatever your name is, right? They say their name back, and then we talk about a little bit of fun stuff. So I like to call this a little bit of small talk, right? So talk about the climate, talk about the news, talk about the World Cup that's happening. Whatever you want to talk about, make sure you talk about that, and you have a little bit of laughs, a little bit of laughter, and just ease the tension, right? That's really the main goal. Then you talk about that for a minute or two. Then you say, hey, look, I'm sure we could talk about this forever, but let's just dive right in. Is that okay? They'd be like, yes, no problem, right? So that's exactly it is. Now, just to keep in mind, all this green is what we actually say. So we physically say what is here in the green. Now, you could tweak it a bit, of course, to your personality, but this is just the exact words you expected to say. So you always want to make sure as well that before you hop in the call, that you record the call. You record the call for future reference. If you don't record your calls, you'll never be able to grow, and scale. So basically, we tell them exactly what it is which framing the call. First, this is exactly how we do it. So first we say, thank you for joining the call. First, we're going to ask some questions about your situation. Then we'll show you what we have to offer and see if it's a good fit. And if it's great, we can move forward. And if not, no hard feelings, we could hop off the call. Is that cool? Boom. I tell them that all the time. So they understand what the situation is, right? So they'll always say yes to this. They're not going to say no to this. They'll always say yes to this. So once you go forward, then you must find their pain. Like I said, there's only 2 reasons why people buy from you. They're either in pain and they have the confidence that you can solve their pain. If someone is hungry and they buy a sandwich, they buy the sandwich because they're hungry. If they don't eat, they're going to die, right? So that's exactly what you want to have in every facet of your sales process. So literally the first thing is the discovery section. And here we ask questions. We figure out information about the client. I like to call this using the doctor frame, because think about this, guys, right? If you're in a situation where you hurt your leg and you go to the doctor's not just going to cut your leg open immediately, right? He's going to figure out what the issue is. He's going to ask you, hey, what happened? Is it trauma? Like, how long have you been dealing with this issue? Does the bone hurt? Does the muscle hurt? Like, figure out all these questions so the doctor can decipher what the proper response is. And that's the same thing for selling. You figure out their situation and you sell them. That's literally it. So first you go and say, hey, What got you interested in hopping on the call today? Why are you here? How can we help? Is there a specific problem look at in your business, right? Just give them the floor, pretty much kind of explain why they're there and what they're looking for. So then you get into the nitty gritty, which is understanding their business. So here's what you talk about exactly what they need to do. So talk about like how long you've been in a certain business, what types of jobs or appointments are focusing on the moment, what type of person is your ideal client. Just figure out like what their situation is to kind of understand exactly how you can help them, right? So then you keep going here and you talk about how many leads they're generating per month, how much money they're making, how much they want to make, like all these things. It's very simple. Now, throughout all of this, you want to make sure that you focus and keep things really, really dialed in. You don't want to go too off tangent. You don't want to go too off tangent because it could make them like lose focus and lose track of what they're there for. So make sure you always want to keep people accountable and keep the questions going, right? So once you figure out all these situations, then you kind of figure out like why they're doing this in the first place. So this when it comes to the internal belief system that they have. So you ask them, hey, look, you're having a situation, but why do you want to fix it in the first place? Like, why is it such a big deal for you to get more leads and more clients? Like, why do you want to do this in the first place? Right? And most of the time they'll say because they want more money to feed their families, take care, all this stuff. That's kind of what you want, right? That's what it is. So at the end of the day, you do that, right? And then they figure out exactly like if they've tried anything in the past. So a big thing is figuring out, have they tried anything in the past to fix their situation, right? And figure out like what have they done to fix it, and why didn't it work? Because if it did work, they wouldn't be on the call. That's just how it is, right? So once you figure that out, of course you go down, you build more pain and more urgency, and you tell them why do you want to change in the first place. And then once you kind of understand everything, you want to repeat back to them what you learned. That's a big thing. So if you felt some situations where, someone doesn't feel like they understand you, you say, hey, look, by the way, Mr. Prospect, thank you for telling me all this stuff. I'm sure we can help you. Now, here's the thing. Let me actually repeat back to you what you said so I understand your situation better. We're on the same page. Then you say, boom, 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 boom. They say, yes, that's totally me. Awesome. So then now you transition into the pitch, right? So that's part 2 of the sale. Now the pitch is very different depending on the offer or the situation you have, but normally you're gonna wanna have a presentation to show people exactly what you do. So this is exactly what we do. So we have a pitch deck template here, and if you guys want this exact template, you can hop on a call with us, talk to us, see if we're a good fit, and we'll see if we can close the deal. So if you guys want this exact same template, just hop on a call with us and we'll see if we're a good fit to work together. But basically, you can see here, this is exactly what we use on the call. We basically talk to them about the different pillars we offer to help them grow their businesses. We offer social media ads, we have a case study, we offer done for you AI, we offer a lead nurture system. Like everything we offer is basically there and it's explained, right? So we explain everything there, and at the end of the call, we pretty much tell them how much it costs. Right? So they tell them the price, and that's basically it. Now, the pitch shouldn't be any more than like 20 to 25 minutes at most. It shouldn't be too long. Right? So once that's the case, you tell them the price, then comes the objection handling part of the call. Now, objection handling is it's the most important part of the call, and a lot of people get very scared about this because they're worried that someone in the call, they could they don't want to seem too pushy, right? They don't want to seem too pushy. But the thing is, you want to make sure that objections are handled because objections are good, right? You have to just flip your mindset on objections. It's good that someone's objecting because if they're not objecting, that means they're not interested. That's literally what it is. They're not interested and they don't want to be your client. But if they're objecting, then they have some interest involved. If they didn't want it, they just hop off the call. I've had that happen plenty of times where people just hang up on us. It just happens. So the point is like you need to understand that objection handling is the most important part of the sales process. And if you mess this up, you just wasted like an hour of just talking to somebody. So you want to make sure this is really good, and you never want to just run away from objections. You have to take them head on, right? So to show you guys exactly how we handle objections, this is our exact framework. So when an objection comes, we always acknowledge an objection. We never just throw it away and dismiss it, right? Because people actually want to feel like they've been heard, and it's just a nice thing to do. You don't want to just say, oh, whatever. So of course you handle it, you acknowledge it, you redirect it to focusing on the program, and you gain certainty that they want your program. And then you go and inquire more. So let me explain how this works for a specific objection. Let's say, for example, they say, I just don't have the money, right? There's a common objection. First, you say, okay, Mr. Prospect, I understand you don't have the money. It's totally fine. Now, putting the money aside, though, if you take a look at everything, do you think this could really help you reach your goals, which are X, Y, and Z? They're like, oh, yeah, I think I can. And you ask them, would you say that? Like, why? And they go on and say, okay, well, because this, that, and the third, whatever. You're like, okay, awesome, no problem. So then you say, hey, look, Now that you gain certainty, you dive in and be like, okay, what is the main issue? Is it because you don't have the money tangibly, or you just don't see the value and you're worried about spending the money? There's two different things when it comes to that. And they'll tell you the real reason and they'll really dive in. And the real goal here is to really feel like or help them, right? Be on their side, because at the end of the day, if you think your program can help people and it should help people, then you should have no problem trying to bring people towards buying it. It's very simple, guys. So at the end of the day, that's exactly how we handle all of our sales systems, our sales framework. Now, we could dive deeper into this, but like I said, if you guys want to work with us, see exactly our exact sales call systems and how we work, then hop on a call that's below and talk to us and see if we can be a good fit to work together. But thank you guys so much for hopping on the call. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.